Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Eric Coffin. I'm here at the September 2024 Metal Investors Forum in Vancouver. I'm here with Tom Ullrich. He's the CEO of Aston Bay Minerals. It's one of the companies that I invited to present in my block. Aston Bay's got a couple of really exciting, really large-scale potential copper projects in Nunavut. One of them JV'd already. It's also got a nice gold project in Virginia that it sounds like may get revisited here in the short term. You want to give us a quick overview of Storm, and one thing I'll mention for you is, Storm, your JV partner, American West, Australian listed company. Those guys have been great. I mean, they're very aggressive, and that's good for you because the way things are set up, you're carried at 20% until I think bankable feasibility. And those guys are, I got to say, I'm impressed. Those guys are really hitting this thing hard. I mean, they're not kidding around.
Absolutely, yeah. So, Storm, it's a high-grade copper project. It's the way we look at it, it's that sort of sediment-hosted copper mineralization like you get in the Central African copper belt. There's a lot of high-grade copper right at the surface, and that's one part of the story, and that's really the development part of the story. Our partner is actively been drilling past 2 seasons to work up some resources. They have their JORC-compliant resource down in Australia. This fall, we'll have our CIM-compliant resource out, maiden resource, and following up on that, our partner plans on getting a PEA out as well early next year. Okay. And both of those reports, I think, are going to be critical to get the market to really understand what we see there, and start to be able to put some numbers in terms of size and costs and potential revenue down the road here. And so get that work done on that development story. We are, our partner is looking at essentially putting a very low cost operation in play there. We're talking capex of less than $50 million with some potentially good revenue numbers coming out. We'll have to wait for the real reports to come up before we can talk about that. But actually, it's at surface mineralization. We want to do essentially a ore sorting and perhaps a pressure jig, gravity separation kind of operation. Very small footprint, fantastic ESG qualities. It uses very little water, if at all. It recycles the water. It doesn't generate any sulfide tailings. It has that potential to not have any sulfide tailings. So all that together with a super low capex, and we think what could be a fairly quick permitting timeline. It's quite possible we could get that project into a revenue generating position for us. In the very near term here, and we are carried through to bankable feasibility study, right? And retaining 20%. I could really, it's certainly within the realm of possibility for us, essentially to stay in that deal at the 20%. There's no reason why we have to dilute. Right. We're in a very good position financially right now. We got excellent prospects as well, and so I think that could be, that could really be a fantastic win for the Aston Bay shareholders. Right. And again, that's just part of the story. That's the near surface stuff. That's kind of the obvious stuff that's been sticking out of the ground. But always a big part of the story has been this sort of hit it out of the park home run deep story. Where we just put a press release out today, actually, that again, essentially another bit of evidence, a piece of the puzzle that that there really could be something significant lurking at depth. We drilled a deep drill hole. We hit essentially 10 meters of 1.2% copper, but the same style of mineralization that we're seeing at the surface. Where we have, for example, our Cyclone deposit, which is our largest zone of mineralization. This might be a bit of an extension of that, and that could extend throughout the entire central Graben, which is this area, essentially a down drop block that is it's 10 kilometers squared. Every drill hole that we've drilled, deep drill hole here, has hit copper mineralization, roughly at about the same level. We've done a lot of different methods of geophysics to try to figure out what's going on in the subsurface. We keep getting better and better at it. You'll see, our hits, we're hitting the higher grade mineralization, the longer intercepts, because really that's what we have to do, right? We want to figure out where is the high grade, the big intercepts at depth, because that's where your potential future deposit could be. And in every one of these hits, we're able to take the data that we get from that, feed it back into our geophysical models, and fine tune that, and we're just getting better and better at finding more and more copper at Storm, and so fantastic upside there.
And you, on top of Storm, I mean, you picked up a project on the mainland, if you will, in Nunavut. That's basically the same kind of model. You're looking for the same kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, certainly, in terms of the exploration model, we think it certainly could be the same thing. This is located just southeast of a town they used to call Copper Mine. Great name for looking for a copper mine, and then they call it Kugluktuk now. But it has some fantastic mineralization at the surface. We have one boulder that we like to show. It's 61% copper and 5.6 kilograms per ton silver. And this is really, really nice numbers. They're definitely the high grade that we're looking for. And a lot of other, it has significant cobalt, zinc, vanadium. It's potentially polymetallic. The southern part of our claim block, we're actually getting some nice gold numbers. We are located, we're not far away from the Lupin mine and Izok Lake. Gold and sort of polymetallic. We're seeing the same kind of at least metal assemblages where we are. We're just trying to figure out now, where in the subsurface again can we find that that style of mineralization, but in some really large concentrations, because a small vein to surface is it's nice. Those are some nice grades, but it's not what we're looking for. It's not going to make the mine. But we think it's so far it seems to be at least ticking most of the boxes. We're doing the work right now, to see does it have all of them. We're just it's a very large claim block. It's almost 900 square kilometers. We just finished a mapping and sampling program. And we're flying airborne mobile MT, which is a geophysical method that we hope can help us figure out what's going on in the subsurface, and may even lead us towards some primary targets potentially for drilling here, or at least for follow-up geophysics. And then that's sort of the game plan there. We've got a lot of Storm, ton of news. Results are just starting to come in from Storm.
Yeah, those guys, they're past 20,000 meters, I think.
Yeah, I think 22,500 is what probably it's going to end up at. We're just wrapping up activities right now. It's starting to get dark and cold. So again, results coming out from that. The maiden resource on our side. The PEA coming out and potentially getting right into permitting. A lot of great news coming out from Storm, and then from Epworth. We took over, I think, almost 500 samples, probably at least 400 for assay, and then the results of this MT survey coming out as well. And we're in a great position there in terms of news flow. We're in a great position in terms of cash. We have probably about $1.5 million in cash right now. Our partners in American West have signed a royalty deal for a small royalty on the Storm project. It's small. It doesn't hinder the project, I think, in any way. But it's going to bring approximately a bit over 17 million Canadian to both American West and us, and we are entitled to 20% of that. So roughly 3.5 million cash coming our way, 1.5 million probably next week, and then there's a couple other milestones that need to be reached. But I expect they'll be reached within the next few months potentially, but probably at the most a year. So that's another that essentially gives us about a view to about $5 million hard cash, in the next year or so. We also have about 3.75 million in warrants that are coming due in a year, and those have been essentially for most of this year have been either at or in the money. So that combination of having a strong treasury, lots of good news flow. I think it's good days for Aston Bay.
Yeah. Well, and just, I mean, you mentioned this in your presentation earlier, so I'll just make a note of it before we close this off. You're going to go back and do a bit of geophysics at your gold project in Virginia.
Yeah, for the past 3 years or so, it's been somewhat desperate in cash position, right? So we really just haven't had the hard dollars to spend down there. But now, we're in a bit of a better position. The Buckingham vein itself, it's a high grade vein. It's an ounce plus material. It's fairly narrow. It's only it's a meter and a half, 2 meters wide. But it's vertical. And we've drilled it out for about 125, 150 meters, and only to about 40 meters depth. And remarkably consistent hits. I think you were commenting on that when you were first drilling it.
Yeah.
It has some really fantastic potential. Both for upside, because we have about a mile of potential strike length on this, and again, we don't know how deep it goes. The style of mineralization is very similar to the mineralization you see like at Kirkland Lake. Those mesothermal veins that can really go and go, and the fact that it's a vein is a good thing, because the ESG qualities on a vein are great, and especially a vertical vein.
Right.
It's it'd be mined with an underground method. There's no open pit here. There'd not be. It's high grade, right? So you don't need to resort to cyanide or anything like that. Very low sulfide. The vein itself is really just white quartz, so there'd be no significant sulfide tailings. And very small footprint, potential operation here. Of course, we have a lot of work to do. We need to see if it can be bigger, right? And so what I want to do, like I say, we do have money, but we're not going to certainly don't want to waste it. There's going to be a geophysical crew in the area early next month, in about a week and a half. What we'd like to do is essentially run some geophysical IP lines over the known mineralization. We've drilled it out. We know it's a vein. We know it's there. We can figure out what the signature for that is there, and then see, run some deeper looking lines. See, does it continue at depth? So we'll check the depth extent that way, and then we think we know where it potentially is along strike. See if we can see it again. See that same signature, along strike. And if we can get some targets to drill, well, then it's worth to drill it. Now, if not, I don't want to spend millions of dollars, wildly poking holes if I don't have a good target. So, but it has some significant potential upside there. So, I'm pretty excited to see what we get there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you have it. Aston Bay Ventures. It's BAY on the venture. Great project set, very strong technical team, tons and tons and tons of news flow over the next few months. It's a great story. Check it out. Thanks for coming by, Tom.
Thanks, Eric.